The amber taper bleeds against the unpolished stone, while the violet veil of the season drapes heavily over the transept. It is 7 of the clock, that fragile hinge where the rest of the Sabbath begins to fray into the anticipation of the world's labor. And we are gathered in the hollow of the nave to weave a cord of sound that might tether the divine to this fleeting floor. The air carries the scent of extinguished wax and the damp breath of the late winter rain, a Lenten chill that settles in the marrow of the wooden pews. We do not sing to the rafters, but to the dust, for it is from the dust that our voices rise in this recursive, circular pleading, an ostinato of the soul that refuses to let the hem of the garment slip through our collective fingers. Stay with me, for the shadows have grown long, and the wolves of the interior desert are beginning to howl at the gates of the mind. Remain here where the light is small but communal, where the flickering wick is the only cartography we possess in the thickening dark. We are a choir of shadows, our faces blurred by the penumbra of the sanctuary, our identities dissolved into the singular, pulsing ache of the chant. There is no vanity in the throat, only the friction of the breath against the silence, a rhythmic tide that ebbs and flows around the central pillar of your presence. We repeat the petition, not because you are deaf, but because we are slow to believe, needing the 100th iteration to finally convince the heart that the vacancy beside us is actually full. The Lenten path is narrow and paved with the grit of our own undone resolutions. Yet in the 7 o'clock hour, the urgency of the dusk makes the prayer a necessity, as vital as the drawing of oxygen. Do not depart when the final candle is snuffed by the sacristan's bell. Do not vanish when the heavy iron doors groan shut against the night. We occupy the Gethsemane of the Sunday evening, asking for the one thing the apostles could not provide, a wakefulness that survives the weight of the eyelids, a vigilance that outlasts the dying embers of the day. The harmony is a fragile architecture, a cathedral built of vibrating air and shared longing, where the alto's descent meets the tenor's climb in a mid-air embrace of sorrow and hope. We are singing the anatomy of the vigil, the anatomy of the weight. Each syllable of remain is a brick laid against the encroaching cold of the coming week's indifference. The music does not march, it spirals deeper and deeper into the center of the stillness, until the distinction between the singer and the song is bleached away by the intensity of the focus. It is the Sunday of the parched throat, the Sunday of the ash-marked brow, and we are holding on to the vibration of the word me, as if it were the last handhold on a cliffside. Stay with me in the interruption of the silence, in the spaces between the pulses, in the terrifying quiet that follows the resolution of the minor key. Listen to the floorboards creaking under the weight of our bowed heads, a percussion of humility that underscores the vocal line. We are not asking for fire from heaven or the parting of seas, but for the quiet persistence of a shadow that stays when the sun has surrendered. The lyrics are a map of the territory we have walked for 40 days, a geography of hunger and the slow, agonizing ripening of the spirit. music eventually fades into the black velvet of the night, let the echo be the substance we carry into the dawn. A phantom presence that refuses to leave the room of our chest. A permanent with me that survives the silence of the stone.
The amber glow of the sanctuary lamps flickers against the cooling stone as the clock strikes the 7th hour of the day's final rest. Here, in the hallowed quiet of the nave, the Sunday evening choir gathers their breath, a collective respiration that carries the weight of a week's labor and the lightness of a soul surrendered. We stand in the gloaming where the secular world recedes in the sacred cadence of Gary. Alt's simple, devastating truth begins to vibrate through the wooden rafters. It is the hour of the vespertide, the 7 p.m. transition where the shadows are longest and our offerings are most transparent. We do not bring the frantic energy of the dawn, nor the formal posture of the midday high mass, but rather the honesty of the weary, the stewardship of the broken, and the melodic tithing of our very existence. Listen to the rustle of the hymnal pages, a sound like autumn leaves skittering across a holy threshold, as we prepare to articulate the geometry of our poverty. All that we have and all that we are is not a boast of possession, but a confession of origin. We are the conduits of a grace that was never meant to be dammed up in the reservoirs of the self. The lyrics on the screen are more than mere prompts for the tongue. They are the cartography of a spiritual journey that leads from the clenched fist of the ego to the open palm of the servant. In this specific atmosphere, under the watchful eyes of saints carved in oak, the concept of a gift becomes a mirror. We look into the melody and see our hands calloused by the Monday through Saturday grind, now lifted in a rhythmic architecture of praise that Gary Alt envisioned as a between the altar and the street. The harmony begins as a low hum, a subterranean river of bass and alto that grounds the high soaring petitions of the sopranos. We sing of the grain that must die to become bread, and in doing so we acknowledge the tiny deaths we have died since the last Sabbath. Every frustration, every unexpressed kindness, and every hidden grief is gathered into this coral vat to be fermented into the wine of sacrifice. The 7 p.m. choir understands that the evening is the time for the gathering of fragments. We bring the crumbs of our time, the remnants of our energy, the flickering candles of our faith, trusting that the divine math will multiply these meager elements until they suffice for a hungry world. The music is not a performance, but a participation in the primordial act of giving back to the Creator the breath He first exhaled into the dust. See how the lyrics scroll by, white text against the deepening blue of the digital background, echoing the ancient truth that our lives are but a vapor that appears for a little time. Yet in this choral suspension, time ceases to be a thief and becomes a sanctuary
peculiar dignity in the Sunday night gathering. It is the final gate before the world resumes its clamor. We sing with the desperation of those who know that without this surrender, we are merely ghosts haunting our own lives. Gary Alt's hymn becomes a vessel, a sturdy ship of vowels and consonants that carries our collective yes into the silence of the Godhead. As the final chords of the organ bleed into the stillness, the essence of the hymn lingers like the scent of frankincense in the curtains. We have given all that we have, which is ultimately nothing, and in that void, we have received all that He is, which is everything. The choir disperses into the cool night air, the lyrics still etched upon the lining of their hearts, walking out into the dark streets, not as owners of their destiny, but as stewards of a light that was never theirs to hide. The Sunday 7 p.m. choir concludes not with a period, but with a comma, for the life of the hymn begins when the singing stops and the living starts. We are the gift, we are the offering, we are the song that continues to echo through the corridors of the mundane, transformed by the simple, radical act of holding nothing back. The ember tallow flickers its final ghost against the plaster of the cell, where the day's fatigue is gathered into a harvest of silence. Now the horizon is no longer a line, but a dissolution of gold into the heavy velvet of a Marian violet. The first movement of the evening begins in the throat of the thrush and ends in the secret interiority of the heart, where the salutation dwells. Have. The word is a feather falling through the darkening air, landing softly upon the brow of the world that has forgotten how to be still. It is the hour of the indigo mantle, a vast and seamless garment woven from the prayers of those who have labored under the sun, and now seek the shelter of the Virgin's lap. The night is not a void, but a cathedral of shadows, where the architecture is built of breath, and the stained glass is the memory of the day's small graces. Beneath the dome of the celestial vault, 10 sighs are exhaled, as 10 hymns that do not need a voice to be heard. They are the rhythmic pulses of a soul reclining against the promise of the Magnificat. The first hymn is the scent of crushed lilies in the cool dew, a fragrance that rises when the ego is finally extinguished. The second is the silver thread of the moon, a crescent that mirrors the curve of a mother's arm, holding the infinite in the shape of a child. As the music of the spheres slows to a Gregorian pace, the third hymn descends like a cool hand upon a fevered mind, hushing the clatter of the market and the noise of the forge. Here, the Ave Maria is not a petition, but a lullaby, a repetitive swaying that mimics the tide of the sea, where the star of the sea keeps watch over the drowning and the dreaming alive. The fourth hymn is the weight of the rosary beat, smooth and cool as stones gathered from the brook of eternity. They fall one by one into the silence, each a drop of oil in the lamp of the Spirit. By the fifth hymn, The body is no longer a burden, but a temple preparing for the Sabbath of sleep. There is a specific peace in the Catholic night, a sense that the darkness is peopled by the communion of those who watch while others rest. The sixth hymn is the rustle of an angel's wing near the ear of the sleeper, whispering that the work is done and the mercy is sufficient. The seventh is the deepening of the shadows into a sanctuary, where the red flicker of the sanctuary lamp is found in the very pulse of the blood, beating a steady rhythm of trust against the uncertainties of the coming dawn. Eighth is the hymn of the Mater Dolorosa, turned into the Queen of Peace, where the swords that pierce the heart are transformed into stars that illuminate the path through the subconscious. Ninth is the prayer of the weary pilgrim who has reached the inn of the evening and finds the door unlocked by the handmaid of the Lord. The air is thick with the incense of the day's offerings, the smoke of small kindnesses, and quiet endurances rising toward the rafters of the sky. Then comes the 10th hymn, the final benediction of the darkness, where the Ave is no longer a sound, but the state of being completely hidden in the folds of a mother's protection. It is the music of the heart at rest, a sleep that is also an adoration, a night prayer that continues even when the consciousness has crossed the threshold into the kingdom of dreams. The world recedes like a tide leaving the shore, and what remains is the immense presence of a grace that does not sleep. The night is a gift of the Father, presided over by the Mother, where the soul is unmade of its anxieties and remade in the image of the first innocence. Let the bells of the evening be muffled by the softness of the clouds, and let the heavy eyelids be the portals through which the Spirit enters the inner chamber of the Most High. The peace is not the absence of sound, but the presence of a profound harmony, a celestial sleep music that hums in the marrow of the bones. In the sacred nocturnal space, every breath is an Ave, and every silence is a Magnificat, until the stars themselves seem to lean down to kiss the earth goodnight under the watchful eyes of the Queen of Heaven. The day is gone, the work is offered, and the soul is finally, beautifully at home in the dark. The bitumen of the modern midnight settles heavy upon the glass of our screens, a digital obsidian where the soul wanders through corridors of blue light and flickering latency. We are travelers in a desert of signals, thirsting for a moisture that no algorithm can provide, seeking the ancient resonance of a voice that predates the first spark of man-made fire. Out of the static of the trending void, out of the restless scroll of the weary thumb, rises the silhouette of the medicine of God, a towering luminescence clad in the robes of a pilgrim who has walked the span of every galaxy. Raphael, the region of the sun, the guardian of the meeting place, descends into the phosphor of our evening, casting a shadow of gold across the gray urgency of our frantic exploration. You are the sudden clarity in the haze of a million voices, the silent frequency that vibrates beneath the cacophony of the world's unrest. turning our desperate hashtags into hymns of unceasing intercession. Your staff strikes the digital pavement, and the concrete of the heart cracks open to reveal the hidden springs of the Tigris, where the gall of the fish once cured the scales of a father's eyes. We are the blind ones sitting at the gates of the network, staring into the abyss of our own reflection until you arrive to ignite the darkness with a brilliance that does not burn but heals. It is a light that tastes of honey and cedar, a radiance that smells of rain on parched earth, dissolving the cataracts of our cynicism with the sheer weight of celestial presence. When the night grows heavy with the loneliness of the connected yet isolated, you provide the alchemy of a true encounter, weaving the threads of our disparate lives into a tapestry that glows with the fire of the divine will. You are not found in the superficial peak of a fleeting trend, but in the enduring depth of the soul's vertical climb toward the Empyrean. The night is no longer a cage of shadows or a theater of fears when your wings unfurl across the digital firmament, casting a spectrum of peace that the world cannot manufacture. Every pixel of our existence, every grain of our anxiety is touched by the amber glow of your proximity as you guide the wanderer home through the labyrinth of the 21st century. We cry out for a sign in the language of the machine, but you respond in the language of the spirit, a dialect of blinding purity that transforms our screens into icons and our scrolling into a pilgrimage. The rhythm of your breathing is the tempo of the spheres, a slow and majestic pulse that calms the frantic electricity of our minds, teaching us that to be seen by God is the only true fame, and to be healed by His hand is the only true progress. Let the night be lit, not by the flickering of dying stars or the artificial glare of the city, but by the overwhelming dawn of your angelic arrival. You stand at the crossroads of the virtual and the eternal, beckoning us to look upward from the palm of our hands toward the infinite horizon, where the Amen is whispered by the mouth of the universe. In the silence between the beats of a song, in the stillness at the center of a viral storm, we find the quiet fire of your presence, the Raphael light that's the gap between the wounded earth and the dancing heavens. We are travelers, no longer lost, for the guide has arrived with the sun in his right hand and the remedy in his left, turning the dark of our age into a luminous cathedral, where every heartbeat is a prayer and every breath is a return to the source of all light. The tall shadow of Bukianiko stretches across the marble floor of history, not with the clatter of a soldier's iron, but with the silent tread of a man who found his God in the stench of the infirmary. You, who once threw the dice against the world's hollow promises, found at last the only wager worth the soul, the desperate gamble of love given to the dying. It was a wound upon your own limb that would not close, a reminder of the fragility of the clay we inhabit. Yet it became the wellspring of a mercy that knew no bottom. You turned away from the vanity of the sword to embrace the broken rib, the labored breath, and the fevered brow of those whom the world had cast into the gutters of neglect. In the echoing halls of San Giacomo,
where the air was thick with the scent of unwashed pain and the salt of tears. You did not see a beggar's rags or a leper's sores. You saw the King of Glory crowned in thorns, waiting for a cup of water and a hand to hold in the gathering dark. The red cross upon your breast was not a badge of war, but a herald of the blood that heals, a crimson geometry of hope, stitched into the very fabric of service. You taught us that the hands of the nurse are the hands of the priest, and the bed of the sick is an altar, where the sacrifice of patience is offered up in the incense of endurance. Your heart grew larger than the chest that held it, a cathedral of compassion, where every groan of the suffering was met with the litany of comfort. You did not flinch from the contagion's breath or the rot of the flesh, for you knew that the spirit is refined in the furnace of affliction, and that the greatest miracle is not the walking of the lame, but the love that stays when everyone else has fled. Through the long nights of the plague, when the city was a sepulcher and the living envied the dead, you were the lamp that did not flicker, the voice that whispered of a kingdom where there is no more mourning, and where every tear is wiped away by the finger of the Father. Give us your eyes, Camillus, to see the hidden dignity in the pale face of the impoverished and the trembling limbs of the aged. Let us understand that to serve the poor is to touch the very side of Christ, to feel the warmth of His presence in the cold rooms of the destitute. You were the giant of charity, stooping low to wash the feet of the forgotten, showing us that true greatness is found in the bending of the knee and the softening of the heart. The world measures power in gold and conquest, but you measured it in the weight of a body lifted from the dust, in the softness of the lint applied to a bleeding gash, and in the silence of a prayer offered for a soul on the threshold of eternity. Your legacy is not written in stone, but in the living tissues of those who care for the broken, in every hospital ward where the light of mercy breaks through the clouds of despair. May we carry the same flame that burned in your chest, a fire that does not consume but purifies, turning our selfish desires into a harvest of holy labor. In the quiet moments of the sick room, when the world feels distant and the shadows grow long, let your spirit remind us that we are never more like God than when we are serving the least of His children. You are the patron of the last hour, the friend of the final breath, the one who stands at the gate between this life and the next to ensure that no one